Hello and welcome to the third episode in Grizzly Bear Radios. Or as I said to you the last time we were chatting, maybe I should be called Got All the Gear but No Idea. However, today I'm going to talk about a number of things, but one of them is German radios of the 1950s through to the early 1960s. And at that time, Germany were making probably the best radios in the world. They were just ahead of the game. At a time when most people were putting one speaker into a radio, the Germans were putting in 2 and 3 and 4 speakers into the radio, and doing things that made those speakers make the music come alive. This is a Grundig radio. It is a 2035 and it's called 3D Sound, and that's exactly what it is. And it's probably up there with the best of the radios of that period. The very best is one we're going to show you in a minute, which is the Saba radio. I think they're the Rolls Royce of radios, and I'll tell you why in a moment. It's interesting that we use the term the Rolls Royce of to describe the very best. And of course Rolls Royce now is it's based in Chichester in West Sussex, where they make the Rolls Royce cars, although it's owned by BMW, a German company, and most of the parts are made outside of the UK. So the Germans excel in engineering, and this radio is no different. I'm going to let you listen to it now, and you can for a brief period, tell me what you think. It takes a few minutes to warm up, which is, of course, is the glory of dealing with these old radios. But just when you turn the controls, you can just sense that they're better made. And with a bit of luck, this will come to life. Got the tuning, volume, tone, and these are separate controls for tone, I think, but I'm sure you'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I think that's an amazing sound, and that's a sound that you only get when you're using valves in a wooden cabinet. But the clarity and depth of that music and that sound, I personally think is better than any modern hi-fi. It really is a thing of beauty. Gorgeous case, speakers either side and at the front. That is the Grundig 3D Sound. And now we'll take and show you the Saba. This is the Saba radio, which I think is the Rolls Royce of radios. When you turn the controls, it just feels beautifully made. You've got the green eye to show that the channel you're on the station. But isn't that good? I think that shows a quality of sound that just beggars belief. The quality of the switches, how they're flush, even after all this time. Just an amazing bit of kit. And I think Saba rightly are the Rolls Royce of radios of that period. Just beautifully made, and I think would still look good in any home. And if of the many radios that I've got, I was only allowed to keep one, I'm pretty sure it would be this one. It just is beautiful. As I said a few minutes ago, just compare that sound to a modern hi-fi. This one's got 4 speakers, 2 at the front, 1 either side. Beautiful cabinet, just beautifully made. And this one has been fully restored. Okay, let's go back to the workshop, and I've got a few things to tell you and talk about and show you there. This is a Bush DAC 90 radio, and they were phenomenally popular in their time. I guess they were a lower to middle age range in the marketplace, but they were beautifully made. This one we're going to use some grey gates paste to bring back up the Bakelite, which really is amazing stuff. You could use T-cut polish, but the grey gates number 5 paste, I think just gives it a bigger and clearer richness. It's a lovely thing. The case is in really good condition. And I've just spent this morning taking mountains of dust out of it. I mean, I've never come across one, so much dust and dirt inside it. So it took me quite a lot of coughing and cleaning to get it done. What makes this radio a little bit special compared to the many other Bush DAC radios that are out there is that this came with it. Now, this envelope has got nothing to do with the contents, but it's dated 1973, and it says here, Bush radio purchased March 1958. And it cost you the princely sum of 3 pence to send that in a first class post. But inside here are a number of things of interest. There you are, DAX 90A, and that is an instruction and a guarantee to help you on your way. And this is from the Bush dealer who sold it to Mr. Holland of Taunton, and the name of the dealer was P. Teaford, I think it is, again in Taunton, and it was the 21st of the 3rd, 1958. Looks like an old legal document, doesn't it? Just would never happen today. And it talks about the instrument and the valve guarantee. So that's a pretty swish guarantee, isn't it? You'd think it was a deed for some land that was written a long time ago. It quotes a serial number, which is a serial number on the back of this radio. And I think that's rather nice, don't you? So when we get this radio cleaned up further, we will see how we go from there. And that's the little plaque that goes inside them, showing that the royalty has been paid on the apparatus pursuant to a license agreement with the grantors of the broadcast sound receiver license known as A7-S, and that appeared in every radio just as days gone by. And I often think when I see things like that, well, 2 things. One, that I'm sure this radio could tell a few stories, and the really depressing piece of news about this radio purchased in 1958 in a bygone age with a bygone guarantee is that it's actually younger than me. So that's slightly alarming. But that is, I think, a little bit different. It just gives a history, and I would never have believed that guarantees would have been written in such a grand way for these radios. But that's what it is. And I hope you enjoyed and thought it great and exciting looking at that guarantee as much as I did. I want to talk to you about some other meters. As you know, we are really into a lot of meters, and I've said before that I believe that the Simpson and the Triplet and what is RCA Viz, they're all American, and they make some of the best meters in the world. At the time when these were being made, the UK were producing something called an avometer, and this is one of the last that they made. It's an Avometer 8 Mark 7, and that was just being used everywhere in a case just like this. And it is a great bit of kit, it really is, but I think sadly the Americans had the edge. The other manufacturer of top meters is the French company called, and I'm not a great one for speaking French, but I think it's called Saba. And they still make really expensive top end bits of equipment. But this they made, I guess about 20 odd years ago, and it was made to be used in the field, so it was very strongly protected, as you can see. It's got an element of bounce factor, and it was a digital meter. You can see it has got the full capability, and was a really good bit of kit. The model that preceded this by Saba was, if I can get it down, is this one. And when I open it, you'll see why. Because unusually, it was both digital and analog in quite a compact case. It had a really, as did the other one, extensive range for a multimeter, and in France, if one of these are advertised, they sell in excess of 100 euros, 150 euros. They're very sought after. A, because they are beautifully made and ultra reliable, and not dissimilar ones are available from Schöne of today. They still make top end meters. We've actually got a piece of kit called a CA, I think it's 6160 for pat testing, which is a massive thing, and maybe we'll show that to you in a future video. So I thought you'd like to see those. They are that bit different, and they're great bits of kit. I mean, just really made to last forever and a day. And I think it's quite good having the digital. I prefer this one to that one, although that's the later model, because this actually shows you both, and I think that's quite good. And I've tested them on measuring batteries, etc., and they really are very consistent and accurate. So that's it, is where we are with those. Again, if you want to buy any of these, they are all for sale to fellow enthusiasts. I think anybody would say I've actually got too many, but I just admire the quality of that period in time. I just like quality products, things that are well made, built to last, and these clearly are. They're made to go on and on and on. So that's the radios for this time. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you do agree with me that the sound from those German radios of the period were just something special. The tone is amazing. You know, you've only heard little clips because we're not allowed to play long clips, but I'd love to hear your opinion on what you think it is. So, my final thought for the day is this, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot of recently. We spend a lot of time worrying and promoting that we should save the planet. And that's rightly so. We are guilty of destroying our planet. The use of plastic, are not recycling, the the mountains of waste that is created because of the volume of rubbish that goes into our bins every week. We are melting the ice and we're changing the weather. And that's right. We should be more conscious of what we are doing to save our planet. And you hear people talk and say that this generation has a responsibility to save the planet for future generations. And I agree with that. That's got to be right. Global warming, whatever you think of it, and however the debate goes about the reality of it, you can't question the fact that the climate is changing. They're starting to grow in the south of England here grapes for sparkling wine, because the climate now found in the south east of England is what it was in the Champagne region of France. The climate is changing and we need to save the planet. But here's a thought. We're living in a world, I think, where people care less about each other. And I hear the phrase, I'm only out for number one. We live in a world where, within my generation, we cannot trust the news that we hear on our radios and TVs. We can't trust what we read in the newspapers anymore as to whether it is true or not. And the phrase has become part of our everyday language that says it's fake news. Well, I'm not sure what I think fake news is. It's either news and factual or it's not. And isn't it crazy that we live in a world where fake news is promoted simply to either get higher ratings for the broadcasting station or sell more newspapers from the news agents? So we sell fake news. And fake news, like gossip, is hugely damaging. I've been a victim of that, so I know what it's like. It's fake news. So we're losing the values of honesty that made this country great. I am a generation that can remember that the shaking of someone's hand was a binding contract on a deal. It isn't anymore. And we pay lawyers fees to try and ensure a contract is kept, because we can't trust someone's word anymore. So here's my thought. What if we save the planet for future generations, but by our actions we make it a world that's not fit to be lived in? We talk a lot about saving the planet. I think maybe we should equally talk and think about saving the world. There's no value in saving a planet for the next generation if we create a world that they will not want to live in. So let's begin to stand up for honesty, actual factual news, and a search for the truth. Let's try and condemn gossip and try and see the best in everyone. And I think if we did that, the world would be a better place, and we'd be saving the planet and the world for future generations. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.